Uh-oh, Fani Willis, Fulton County DA, may have just screwed up badly, and not on purpose, in a case involving a MAGA supporter of Donald Trump and a request for documents where she's now had a default judgment entered against her in the office and was now responsible to pay attorney's fees, all for what looks to me like an administrative error in her office. You're on Legal AF. And I'm sitting at the intersection of law and politics. Hit the blue subscribe button. Help us build our audience with your help. I'm Michael Popok at the intersection of law, politics, and Georgia public records law, apparently. We got this weird order just came out of Judge McBurney's chambers, an order of default against Fani Willis as the Fulton County DA in favor of a MAGA organization called Judicial Watch, run by a non-lawyer named Tom Fitton. Now, he's constantly filing or having lawsuits filed and public records requests filed all over the country to try to gin up support for Donald Trump. And here, a long time ago, we reported on it on Legal AF. Tom Fitton's group filed a public records request in Georgia to get from the Fulton County DA any records of communications between her and the Jan 6th committee and her and or Jack Smith's special counsel's office to try to show some collaboration or cooperation among the three, which, by the way, I'd like to see collaboration and cooperation among them, but he wanted to make a big deal out of it. And back before the election, back in March, the records custodian for Fulton County, Georgia's DA's office said, none, we don't have any. That didn't happen. Now, Tom Fitton doesn't have any evidence that it did, but he tried to argue that he did. I mean, the evidence he could have had is if he had subpoenaed like Jack Smith and was able to get a document out of his files, or the Jan 6 committee, and he found an email with Fani Willis's name on it and said, aha, here we go. She's lying, Judge. But he doesn't have any of that. It's just his supposition. It's just his makeup, right? It's just his artificial pretense. And so he filed a complaint. He took it to the next step. We call it a complaint for public records. It's a relatively simple 2 or 3 page document. You file it, the other side responds to it, and then we go from there. If there are documents in response to your original request that you made in writing that weren't provided, you'll get attorney's fees for having to file that suit to get them. That's where the attorney's fees part of the order. All of a sudden I read today that Fani Willis gets a default judgment against her. And a default judgment means you had an opportunity to answer, which you're required to do within a certain amount of time, and you never did. And I'm like, that's weird. Did that fall between the cracks of the Fulton County DA's office? Because to get to a judge to enter a default judgment against you and award attorney's fees to the MAGA guy, something bad may have happened. I don't think, as some people are speculating, she did it on purpose. There's no incentive to do it on purpose. If she has no documents, proudly say it loud and proud, I don't have any documents, and just file your answer on time. She missed not one deadline, not 2 deadlines, but 3 deadlines, which is really weird. I mean, one is like an error, like the dog ate my homework, the law clerk screwed up, I fired the assistant, like that. 3 times, that's a systemic control issue within your office. And that's a problem. So Fitton's office files the complaint with the court. It gets docketed, boom, stamp with the clerk's thing. Then it gets served. Eventually, they file an affidavit of service. Now, sometimes when you're serving federal or state governments or local governments, it gets a little complicated. There's a certain person, you got to find them, you got to serve them. That person has to docket it. It has to get up to the powers that be, like Fani Willis. It can get confusing. Sometimes it gets screwed up. Not 3 times, but it could get screwed up. And the judge, McBurney, was concerned that after a deadline came and went, that maybe the office didn't get served. So he ordered them to serve again. And so they served again. And still the deadline passed that the judge had set. So the judge said basically today, after months, since April, this is now November, December, enough is enough. Finding the office in default without excuse, awarding attorney's fees that'll be set in December. And the judge even went as far as to say, you had one more opportunity to cure this problem. You had 15 days after my initial order to move to vacate what I did, and you still didn't come to court. Now, some people might be thinking, well, she doesn't have anything. She's tired of being picked on, so she just ignored all these deadlines. I don't think so. They have to regularly appear in front of McBurney. He was once the chief judge there. He was the one that presided over the special purpose grand jury against Donald Trump. I don't see her just flouting the rules and not responding. Now she's going to have to come on bended knee with, we'll probably get it the next day or two. I'll report on it here on Legal AF and say, oh, big mistake. Now she has to show extraordinary good cause to vacate the motion for default. Now, I've got involved with cases where we've had a default entered against the client. Usually I inherit it. They fire the other lawyer. Please help us. We have a default against us, or they screwed it up themselves. So I know how to fix it. She knows how to fix it, but it's going to be an elaborate affidavit now of why they didn't comply and a good legal excuse why she didn't comply. Otherwise, if the answer is still none because she can't manufacture documents that don't exist, it's really embarrassing because she never had documents to worry about, and yet she got caught up in a process and now owes attorney's fees. That's why I know that this was not done on purpose, and not at all. Now, everyone in the press who doesn't know the law was like, oh, it's going to be an appeal, but Bernie, it's going to make her turn over communication. That's not the issue. The issue is it was a default judgment because Fani Willis's office screwed up. And I'm not sure there's an appellate reversal here possible. I got to see what's in her next filing to give you better information and better analysis. But that's where we are right now. Tom Fitton has beaten Fani Willis over documents that don't exist. I mean, this is like, dog eats a dog, or what man bites dog. I mean, we're in that scenario. I want to find out what happened. And when I get that filing, I will. So there are a lot of things that could have happened here. And what would have happened had the default not happened and Tom Fitton had evidence that she was withholding documents, which I don't think exists, then he could have asked for a forensic review and a third party look at the servers and let's go image them. But he wasn't anywhere near that. That's why this is such an unforced error. Or I think in football or soccer, they call it an own goal. You kick the ball into your own net. Why? I don't know. It's bizarre. I'm trying to understand it, even as I do this delivery of the hot take. I'll continue to follow it right here on Legal AF. You're already here. Hit the free subscribe button. It looks like this. It's blue. And follow me on all things Legal AF. I got a new show Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Popok Live on Midas Touch Network, where I also do the Legal AF podcast Wednesdays and Saturdays. So Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Saturdays. I feel like I'm doing the countdown from The Godfather. Popok, 8 p.m. every time, Eastern time. And then all things Legal AF over here on our channel in collaboration with the Midas Touch Network with some new, original, and great content at the intersection of law and politics. So until my next every contribution to Legal AF, I'm Michael Popok, and I am reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.